Hey everybody, it is Tim here with Robot Recommends, and we are staring at a long holiday weekend, so cheers to that. And with the holiday coming up, I did decide to just go with an obvious one for today's recommendation, and that is the 1996 blockbuster Independence Day. Very fitting. We're coming up on 24 years tomorrow that this blockbuster was unleashed on the world and became one of the highest grossing uh, movies for quite some time. Um, and it is kind of the low hanging fruit to pick for Fourth of July, but there are a couple of reasons that I did it. One, the first is I actually think at this point Independence Day is a nice bit of escapism because what the movie shows us is an existential threat that comes and affects the whole world, and we see everyone, all different countries, all different kinds of people work together to overcome that threat. That is a very nice change of pace from what we are currently seeing, and really does seem even more unrealistic than the aliens and giant spaceships aspect of the movie. Also, there's kind of just a nice catharsis to watching everything blow up, especially with all of the ways 2020 has gone wrong so far. But that all aside, it is still an incredibly fun popcorn blockbuster movie. And this is kind of right on the cusp of CGI really taking over, summer blockbusters and action movies. And there's definitely still some of that in here, but you do still get the actual miniature models of the White House and various buildings that are actually getting blown up, that you get to see on screen. You have the super cool alien itself, that when they try to perform the autopsy on it and find out it's still alive, that whole sequence is very, very cool. The creature effects on it still hold up really well, much better than some of the CGI creatures that were coming out at about the same time. So you do get a lot of fun action with this movie. You have a great turn from Will Smith. You have Jeff Goldblum thrown in the mix doing his Jeff Goldblum thing. And the forced patriotism of it can kind of seem a little off at times, especially, as we are, plummeting towards certain doom. But I think the movie does pull it off because it does make it less about just American patriotism and more about just human spirit itself. Bill Pullman's speech towards the end before you get to the climactic battle, talks about how this is now going to be an international holiday, a holiday for the whole world. Everyone is now joining together to rise up against these alien invaders. So there is more of a cooperative spirit than other like movies like The Patriot or Top Gun, or things that are much more focused on just the American aspect of it. So I always enjoyed that part, especially as I've gotten older. It is very much everyone band together and face down this threat. Our gumption will get us through. But it's also worth pointing out, like I mentioned it with the alien and the miniatures, that for a big budget action movie, this is still a lot of fun to watch today. And the list of these like big action heavy like summer blockbuster movies that still hold up is relatively small, like especially for this period. You have your Jurassic Parks and Jaws, which I mentioned on Tuesday. Like there are plenty of movies that still hold up of this ilk, but when you consider how many other bad big budget action movies have come up, it's really refreshing to go back and watch a movie like this that, it's not, winning Academy Awards or anything, but it's still a lot of fun. The bad one is Independence Day Resurgence, which came out, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. We have a question asking what the bad one was. Yeah, there was a sequel, a belated sequel that came out 3 or 4 years ago, and it's just, it doesn't hold up. There, one, it's the same CGI fest that we see in all the other big budget blockbusters nowadays, and it also takes, Independence Day, the original, was a very self-contained movie. The Resurgence tries to do the whole shared universe. We're going to turn this into a franchise thing with the way they end it. But yeah, not nearly as great. But the original, the one that I'm talking about from 1996, is still a lot of fun. You still get all the action and the witty banter with Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, and some fantastic creature effects. So what better way to celebrate Independence Day than with Independence Day the movie? And we can kind of pretend that we live in that dystopia instead of the one that we are currently in. But regardless, enjoy, if you have off, enjoy the long holiday weekend. Enjoy the weekend just in general, or the next few days. Stay safe as always, and we'll be back next week with some more recommendations. Cheers.